then.
Yep. Yeah. All right. I think it's about time.
Okay, click admit.
Okay. Okay, and so if something comes up, I'll click admit. Well, I think we're about that time. Good morning, everyone. And it's odd talking to a computer that where you don't get a response, but that's okay. I just wanted to welcome you this morning to our Greene Crop Consulting Crop Management meeting. Thank you for joining us. This is the first time we've done anything like this, but we're excited to see how it works and interested in your feedback as well. So with that, what do I need to do to go to the next slide? There we go. Okay, just talk about, I wanted to share some expectations for this, for the meeting today. We're gonna have a 90-minute meeting roughly, and we intend to share a lot of profitable information that should help you with your operation. There's just, keep listening. There's good nuggets of information for you. Also, there's going to be a random drawing at the end where we are going to share share a prize, and we'll talk about that in a minute. If you can, sometimes reception is better if you have your video off and you're muted. If you can do that. Also, there will be a place where you can click into chat that you could submit any questions that you have or comments. We've got somebody here at the office that's watching that. Later on, we're going to post a link to the recording of this presentation, and that should help out as well. So you should be able to go back and see that. So what we're going to do, our agenda for today, we're going to share a team update. This is so you know what you're up against. We're going to have a soil fertility overview, research plot work. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a new program that I'm extremely excited about called Pay Dirt. And you'll see why. I think it's going to be a big benefit to many of you that are on today. We're going to have a crop insurance update. And then a bulk of our time, Rich Morrison, about 45 minutes into this, is going to talk about the market updates, and he's going to talk for about 45 minutes perhaps, and then after that we're going to have a drawing and conclusion. So that's what we're going to do today. We should be done about 10:30 or so. So this is what our drawing is about. We have a drawing for a $450 value of drone scouting, maximum of 100 acres of that, based or free based on this. And anyhow, it would be 3 passes of the drone with aerial mapping, targeted scouting, and then communicating any issues that we find through that. So anyhow, that's a value. That's something that I just might as well say this now. Emma Spurgeon is going to be our scout this year, and she does have her drone license, and she's going to be doing a lot of this for us. And also Nathan Bush is a drone pilot as well. So we've got the ability to do a lot of this and help a lot of people out. So first of all, I want to challenge your thinking. Whenever you see a puzzle and you've put together puzzles, which is the most important piece of a jigsaw puzzle? Is it the first piece that you put down? Is it the border or the corners? Or is it the last piece that you get in place? Well, again, I want to challenge your thinking on this. And I want you to think about the importance of a different piece that's not listed here. The box, the picture on the box, that's the completed picture. If you know what the completed picture is, then we can figure out in a much more efficient way, more effective way, how to get there. And with Greene Crop Consulting, that's what we try to do. We try to help you find the way to get to the vision that you've got at the end. And so we're, we want to help you in that journey and help you make that that transition to where you're trying to go? Well, I'm Danny Greene, and I'm going to just introduce you to our Greene Crop Consulting Team. Been doing this for over 15 years now, and so many of you have been with me the entire time. Thank you for that. We've got a good team all together. Amy Greene has been working with us, as well as Julie Baspagil, kind of keeping our office running smoothly and getting everything done. Couldn't do it without that part of the team. Nathan Bush has been with us for 5 years now, going on 6, and jack of all trades. Crop insurance is his main thing, but also a drone pilot, ag loan, works with financing on that, does consulting as well. So we got a good person there. Tyler Gabehart has been with us 4 years now, and many of you have worked directly with Tyler. He's a steady behind the scenes, get it done type guy, and we're glad for what he brings us. TJ Fisher joined the team after Thanksgiving this past year, and TJ is he's just got a knack for organization, and he's picking up on the crop consulting very fast. Those of you that knew Abby that had worked with us, she went on to do her own thing in Northern Indiana, and we're happy for her and what she's been able to accomplish. TJ slid right into that role, and he's going to be able to keep us moving in the steady direction. Mary Rhoden Hughes is going to join us starting next Monday. We're very happy to announce her in the role of working. Those of you that knew Logan Kolb, Logan went back to his family farm, had that opportunity, and we're happy for him. But that left an opening, and we were able to get Mary to join us, and she's going to be working with our customers that work with Shelby County Co-op, and give them support in the agronomics, and we're happy to have her on board. And we also have a new position that we're going to share with you. It's a pay dirt profit mapping advisor, and this particular role is, we'll talk about the pay dirt program here soon, but really I can't say that we've got anybody selected at this point in time, but I'm hoping that we will soon. So this is what we've got for now. Anyway, moving on, I just want to make sure, or transition to the next part. TJ Fisher is going to share about soil fertility, and then after that, Tyler Gabehart is going to share about research plots. Okay. Here. Not off right now.
No, it's on.
You're gonna have to just speak it. Okay, go ahead.
Hang on, let's do that.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is TJ. We're working through a little bit of a technical issue here, but we'll get things back up quickly and get the information to you. So just bear with us for a moment. Okay, here we go, guys. So what I'd like to talk to you about this morning is our soil sampling process. We divide your fields into 7-acre management zones. And this is important because we try to make input decisions based on your soil type. In these soil zones, we take between 8 and 12 soil cores, which we feel are representative of the area. We send these soil collections to Brookside Lab, which is located in Northwest Ohio. And Brookside Labs, we feel, is a strong source, and they are a world leader in soil analysis. They send us back the data, and here at Greene Crop Consulting, we perform a nutrient review on the information. And each customer of ours gets individual attention and special focus. This allows us to make a variable or straight rate prescription for your fields and allows you to make an economic nutrient placement of fertilizers. And depending on your needs, we can either do spring or fall sampling. And that should fit into your specific fertilizer program. Now, how does this help you? Based on the information we receive from Brookside Lab, we can work to increase or improve your pH levels. We also try to balance your calcium to magnesium ratios. You can then intentionally apply your fertilizer. If needed, you can add micronutrients. Over the course of several years, your inputs can be monitored and soil health improvements can be observed. And depending on whether or not you plant corn, beans, wheat, or hay, crop-specific adjustments can be made. And we feel that based on our guidance, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, boron, and sulfur are manageable. I know the most important thing is how much is this going to cost? Well, soil sampling here at Greene Crop Consulting is $7 an acre. Now you're wondering, well, how can I afford this? Well, hopefully, with our guidance and support, we can increase your yields while decreasing your input costs. And I'd also like to point out that the $7 you pay includes 2 years of field prescriptions. So you have our support for 2 years. There are a few other things that we feel that it is important for you to know. By using prescription variable rates, there is less potential for nutrient runoff and environmental impact. And the new farms that you picked up this past fall can be assessed for nutrient levels and will help you to eliminate surprises in the fall. And the data that we provide you, you can share with your landlords and they can feel comfortable with your farm stewardship practices. Just know that you have a trusted partner in Greene Crop Consulting. And should you need it, Crop Scouting is available for in-season crop monitoring. I'd now like to turn it over to Tyler Gabehart, who's going to talk to you about trials. Thank you.
Hey guys, I just want to talk to you today a little bit about some strip trial options. In the past, we've done a lot of nitrogen strip trials. This has included, changing rates, and even this past year, we added in some nitrogen stabilizer trials during side dress. So there's a lot of options there with the nitrogen. A lot of guys are interested in variable rating. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know. A question that we get a lot is, does starter pay? Really the best way to figure that in is to try some of this on your own ground. Just because your neighbor's using a product or they're using starter and you haven't before, and it's working on their fields, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work, or that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work on your farm. The best way to really figure if a product's going to work is to try it on your own farm with your own farming practices. We can, work with you on that. If you guys know some micronutrient products you want to try, and you want to try running a couple strips. I know in the spring the planting season's really tight, so you don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I think it would be beneficial for you in the fall if we've got some yield information from those strips, and we can kind of come up with a plan and help you guys be a little more successful for the following season and know a little bit more. So we want you guys to succeed. If you have any questions on strip trials or anything on soil sampling, if you guys want to do seeding rate prescriptions or anything like that, I know some of the seed companies are pushing for some of the higher populations, 36, 37,000 for corn. Does that actually pay? I know that the seed companies are pushing it. The only way to really know is to test it out on your own soils. So if you need any of your yield data analyzed for some of those strips, we'd be glad to help you out on that. So just feel free to reach out to us. For TJ, reach out to TJ or I for the soil sampling portion, and we'd be glad to help you.
Well, good morning, everyone. What we're going to talk about next is this new offering that we have, and the name we came up for is called Pay Dirt. We're really excited about it. It's something that I've tried to build internally and put together, and I've never had luck doing it. It's just a technology that's a little bit over our head here, and so we've tapped into some resources. It's Premier Crop Systems is a great company. It's an independent company just like us. What we're looking at here is, to summarize it, is a profit mapping program, and we've got our regional manager here for Premier Crop Systems, Matt Bowers, is going to talk to you a little bit more in detail, and I think you'll be really interested to hear what he has to say. So we know how to get Matt live on here. There's Matt.
You're sure? Click share? Yeah.
No, it's,
Okay.
we may just have to advance slides if that's okay. We need to unmute him though.
Yeah. Ask to unmute.
Something, Matt?
Morning.
I can hear you, Matt.
All righty. Good morning, everyone.
We can move through slides for you as you want.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Nathan, for having me, and great to be here to help launch Pay Dirt with Greene Crop Consulting and Premier Crop Systems. And hopefully you can hear me well. I've went with the trucker headset today so that I take out some of the echo here in my office. If you want to click to the next slide here. So who is Matt Bowers? I'm not a member of the Greene Crop Consulting team officially, but I'm a member of the team for sure in this launch of Pay Dirt, and I'm the strategic account manager for Premier Crop Systems, covering the Eastern Business Unit. And so the colored in states there, including Ontario up north, is kind of where I'm currently working with partners across this Eastern Business Unit. And go to the next. So what can Pay Dirt do for you? We can help plan for the crop year to come by knowing your field, farm, and operations expected return on investment. help visualize relationships in agronomic and economic data. So yield is not created equal or at the same cost. There is power in layering data for an individual and also peer-to-peer benchmarking. We will help provide a true ROI on a couple of fronts. First is crop inputs. By optimizing your return on investment through variable rate technology and also on technology investments, the purchase of precision agriculture or precision equipment or precision practices. So what do you need to use PayDirt? You need to start with a desire to learn and improve. Soil test values, which you'll have through Greene Crop, a yield monitor, and the willingness to share business practices with your advisor, such as fertilizer for fertility, chemistry, seed, and operations. So what is yield efficiency score? You'll hear me say this through the rest of the presentation, either a yield efficiency score or a yes score. So I wanted to go ahead and define what that is. So at Premier Crop, we needed a way to make an even benchmark across all operations. And so we came up with yield efficiency score. And how this is calculated is taking our yield times our benchmark selling price minus our nutrient, chemicals, seed, and operations costs to come up with a yield efficiency score. That yield efficiency score is a dollar amount that is representative of the amount of money per acre back to the operation to pay for management costs such as land cost, crop insurance cost, and what you're paying yourself. So where do we start? We start by planning ahead. So with PayDirt, you'll have the opportunity to plan ahead for the year. This is an example of our seed plan summary. It shows that all the crops and the acres for this operation that will be in these crops. As we see here, we have the amount of units that we'll need for that particular crop. We have the estimated amount of bushels that we'll gain from that crop this year based on our set yield goals for that operation. An estimated seed cost investment, as well as a total revenue for that crop itself. So let's look at the next page where we have our planned yield efficiency score for this entire operation. Once again, we have the total investment costs broken out by our crops, as well as our total revenue coming in for that crop. And then we have our average yield efficiency score for our different crops. So you can see we've got $492 in corn on corn, $411 on corn, and $369 on soybean. Now this is an average across the entire operation for that crop. So let's look at the next page. And just a reminder of how we plan our yield, or how we come up with our planned yield efficiency score. It's that benchmark selling price that we set with the grower themselves times the bushels expected for that crop across your operation. And then we have the costs added up across the bottom and divide that across, and that's how we're coming up with $411 average yield efficiency score. So on the next slide, we can see that this continues to break it down by not only by farm, but also by field. So we have our average yield efficiency score of $411 at the top. And then if you take a look at the individual field, then you can see that the Bill North field is going to be $64 higher than the average yield efficiency score for the operation. If we look at the Johnson Home Farm, it is $57 less than our average yield efficiency score for the operation. So this is a roadmap to start looking before we've purchased any inputs for our operation, that we can look at it and make some decisions based on these results to see where we can maybe improve efficiencies across the fields that we have a less return than our average yield efficiency score. So what is next? What's next is proving what you're doing out in the field with pay dirt. So we talked about yield efficiency score. On the left here is an example of our dashboards with a grower's yield efficiency score versus a large group benchmark data. So as you can see on the left, there's $308 to $551 yield efficiency score rating. This field has a 539. On the right, you can see the bushels for this grower for this operation is averaging 203 bushels per acre. So he's right in the middle of the pack, yet his yield efficiency score is high. His yield doesn't tell the whole story, and it's important. It's an important piece, but it's how efficient you produce your yield that determines your profitability. Like I said earlier, yield is not created equal, nor for the same price. So this is a wider view of our dashboard set that Pay Dirt has. And you can see this is the same field, so the same scores at the top. But if we look at the across the bottom, we start on the left with our seed costs. So you can see that this field is very efficient in seed cost per acre, as well as seed cost per bushel. And it's not even green because it's not on the chart, because it's all the way to the left. But you can see they have a higher fertility cost, a higher chemistry cost, but a very optimal and low operations cost. So this is a roadmap to start looking into, to take a look at this operation and see where we can improve things. But initial quick view at this with the higher fertility is leading to maybe some higher yields and some higher yield efficiency scores. Let's go to the next page. So we can look at, as part of these suite of results that come out, is we can take a look at soil test K. This is an example for corn. Soil test K is going across the bottom of this chart, as the bars that are going across are applied total K rates. And we can take a look at the different areas in your field and see what our yield response is to applied K when tying it back to your soil test that Greene Crop is pulling for you. We go to the next slide, we'll see the soybean example. Same chart here, soil test K across the bottom with applied K going across the bar chart, and we can see our yield bumps as we're going across through these different soil test levels. So I think the next slide is where I really get excited, and I think this brings the most value in my mind. If you can see here at the top where it says economics, this is grower number 9. It's his field 12. So it is field number 12 benchmarked against his entire operation. So it's only his operation that we're looking at. And you can see in the middle of the screen where it says field yield, we have 220 bushel yield. It's only 14 bushel off the highest yielding field in his operation. And it's leading to a yield efficiency score that's not too bad, but it's yellow. It's not all the way up. It's $140 off top yield efficiency score field. But you can see he's got a very optimal seed cost. He's got higher seed costs, but because the bushels are coming with it, it's actually a pretty good seed cost when it comes to seeds per bushel or cost per bushel. Fertility wise, we are definitely building fertility. Maybe this is a newly acquired field that we're pumping up the fertilizer, and that's also driving the yield as well. And we obviously have some chemical issues, maybe some resistance issues going on in the field because we have a high chemistry program. But this is a roadmap to start diving into higher level details with your advisor here at Greene Crop. In the same report, this is probably the most exciting part of this report that I like. where the green bars going left to right are your yield efficiency scores. So the amount of money back to land and management for each individual field across this operation. The orange line is our yield trend line. So you can see that the soybean fields are at the bottom of that line and our corn fields are at the top. So we've got a mixture of soybean and corn fields in this graph. So as Nathan, as you click through here, we can see the first two circles that are going to come up are corn fields, and the yield is almost identical in both of these corn fields. Yet on the next click, you can see that our yield efficiency score is dropping, and we're losing about $50 in yield efficiency score between these two fields. So we can start to look at these two fields and compare them, start to see what we're doing different, what field conditions are different, what practices are different, and see where we can improve that efficiency. As well, on the next couple clicks, we're looking at the same thing with soybean fields, close to the same yields, but definitely even bigger disparity on our next click between that yield efficiency score and that money returned to land and management. So as we go on to the next slide, we also have a suite of reports that comes out of PayDirt automatically. This is an example of a grower top 10 report where we show it's a correlation table. So anything above a 0.1 is a high correlation to yield. Anything that's in a black number is a positive correlation. So as a total P rate that is shown there, applied phosphorus rate, as that increases, yield increases. And negative number is a inverse correlation. So as CEC levels, for this example, as CEC levels are dropping, yield is increasing. So if we go on to the next slide, this breaks down those correlations in our yield groups. So you can see the first arrow on the left is as our yield, average yield is increasing across these ranges in our field, that we can see as well our average P and our average K rates are increasing as well. The CEC example that I brought up is highlighted in green, and as the CEC is dropping, we're actually gaining yield there at the top end of the field. This is an example of some learning block opportunities that we can produce inside of PayDirt. This is what we call a simple learning block. This example is has 3 zones that we're working in, and it's a population study. As you can see on the learning block number 7 on the right, we got Pioneer 1197 in this example. Inside the learning block is an acre, 201 bushels, results at 24,000 population. Outside, we only measure the neighboring cells directly around it. So we're not going out into the other parts of the field and muddying up that data. We're taking the data right there around that learning block. So outside of that is an acre and a half yielding 196 at 26,000 pop. So there's a 5 bushel advantage there. When we tie costs back to this, we'll actually show the cost difference that'll add in not only the seed cost, but the benefit for those 5 bushels as well. We also have the opportunity to do enhanced learning blocks in our system. So this is our university style quilt pattern style research plots that we can do right there on your farm, turning your farm into your own research farm. So as you can see, this one is a population study with 3 rates. We work together with your equipment. So we'll work with your advisor here at Greene Crop, will work with you with what type of equipment you have, your capabilities. And you can see as this tractor goes across, it's changing rates as it goes through. This study is all randomized, set through our proprietary system. We set the areas where we want to be in a like zone, and then it'll actually place all of these plots where they need to go. So you'll see the combine come in here in a little bit, and the combine you can see is smaller than the planter, because we'll work as long as we can get the equipment to work together. We can produce across it. So if you want to fast forward just a little bit, there you go. Here comes the combine. Fast forward to just towards the end, and we'll see that we have yield results coming in. As those yield results come in, our team analyzes it, cleans up the data, makes sure that it's good quality data, and you'll see a blue ribbon come in here on the 36,000 seeds per acre as our winner for this example. And this is the results that come out of that. This is an enhanced learning block report. So as you can see, this example has 3 rates. It's replicated 5 times for a total of 15 reps across 3.7 acres. We can see our soil test average as well as our applied nutrients across that area. This shows the different rates that were intended, the average applied rates, and we can see our winner is noted there with our blue ribbon as 34,000. You can see with our whisker chart there where our data lies and how we come to a conclusion of the winner. So we can see for 34,000 we have a $35 per acre net gain, but if we jumped up and pushed the population, that we actually have a $90 net loss. So pay dirt, what are our takeaways today? What are you interested in learning in your operation? Let's share that with the team here at Greene Crop, what you're wanting to answer, things that interest you in the market that you've heard about. I think it was brought up earlier, testing nutrients or nitrogen and starters and taking a look at those things. We can build those things out in this system. So what intrigued you today? Discuss that with Danny and the team when they meet with you one-on-one, and we can dive into this program deeper. So just a reminder for the day, what do you need to get started? Really, all you need to get started here is a desire to improve your operations ROI and improve your yield efficiency score. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for allowing me to present here, and I'm always free for questions and clarifications. So thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you giving that talk. It's something that we're really excited about as this pay dirt program. We really like the Premier Crop Systems team because they're independent like us. They're not owned by a large corporation. You know, we've been gathering this data on your guys' farms for years, and it's a lot of data we've been gathering between soil test data and yield data. We've never had a tool to overlay it all to actually make decisions that can improve your farm. We do everything the best that we can, but I think we'll have more tools now to really fine tune and discover even things that we can do better on our end. I hope that this is what's going to take us to the next step. I would like to run through a quick little crop insurance update. So just so everybody knows kind of where we're sitting at, last year we were looking at a corn price of $388, and this year we're at a $453, and soybeans was $917, this year at $1172. So we're talking a lot higher guarantee prices, and that's going to translate to a lot higher guarantees on the crop insurance end. Just to give you an idea on cost though, that higher guarantee and higher volatility rate is translating into higher insurance costs, but you are insuring more bushels as well and more dollars of coverage. You're looking at a cost difference between $17 to $25 and $13 to $20. So you're going to see that cost difference. I would highly encourage anybody to maintain the levels they're at, just because you know, we're finally at an opportunity to lock in profit, and Rich is going to talk on that just a little bit more shortly. Just to give you a quick little, for those who haven't signed up, there is a sign-up opportunity this year, and it's in a one-year election. You're looking at ARC and PLC. Your ARC is your agriculture risk coverage, what I call is like an area risk coverage. So it's taking combination of county yield and price. The main factor there is that it doesn't pay until there's an 86% trigger. And so on corn, the price is $370. It's the same price for PLC and ARC. On soybeans, you're looking at $894 on ARC and $840 on PLC. So for that reason, on soybeans, we're recommending people probably sign up with the ARC County program. You get a little bit higher price coverage, and with the combination of taking the county yield, it'd make me a lot more likely to get a payment. The corn, both PLC and ARC are using the same price, so that's kind of a toss-up. The positive on PLC is anytime it drops below the $370, you're in a payment situation where as on ARC, you have to get below that first 14% before it would trigger a payment. Rich is going to talk more on this. I just want to bring it up, and I'm sure you've all heard about it from your different agents, or, you know, we will talk about it once we start nailing you guys down on where we want to be at. But the enhanced coverage option, or ECO, is a 90 or 95% coverage on top of your base RP policy. There's a lot of different ways to set it up, but the difference is this 90 or 95% is based on the county yield and the projected price that we're using. So that 453 and 1172. So we're talking pretty good prices. The main reason to consider it is that price protection. And I like to look at it, and like Rich could agree, is maybe setting it as a, you know, a put option, or basically locking in a price floor. And so when you take 90 or 95% of, you know, 450 corn and 1170 beans, that sets you a nice little price floor. Now it is tied to the county yield, so it's not apples to apples, but it sure is a lot more affordable than a put option. So it's something worth considering. Just a reminder, we got some, you know, our main crop insurance dates. End of February, our spring price will set. March 15th is the last day to sign up for insurance. July 15th, those yields need to be, or your acres need to be reported to us and the FSA office. September 30th is our payment due date for insurance. And October 1st through 31st is when the harvest price sets. Just want to provide a quick little update. We still are doing farm financing, just some programs that we can offer. Our main draw here is ag real estate. That's where we're most competitive. And so mortgages, equity lines of credit, and also pole barns and grain bin leasing, we can be very competitive on that as well. We do have a scorecard application program for smaller size loans, say under 750,000. And what we get there is it's less paperwork and faster approval, lower down payments. Right now we're sitting at great rates. This was quoted from yesterday, but we would be a 25-year fixed rate. We'd be at 3.8%. And so I think if you look back in history, that's still a pretty great opportunity. If someone had some land they wanted to refinance or looking to purchase, give us a call. You can give me, that's my phone number there, 317-502-5303.
Okay.
I think I'll pass it on to Danny here. Is that?
No, just stay there. I just, till Rich comes back, I just wanted to, I'm going to jump in the picture too a little bit, but anyway, Nathan, so as Rich gets back here, what are your thoughts on, I mean, about this new pay dirt program?
You know, it's, you know, what the goal here is it is a program that we are going to charge for, but what we're expecting is the reason we're charging for it, just like our soil sampling program, is we do have costs of the program, but we're, you know, the expectation is it's going to make you more than it's costing. And just like our soil sampling, the reason we offer it is because of the value. You know, if we're just out here to make money on you guys, that doesn't bode well for us in the long term. And so the only reason we're dishing this out is the opportunity to improve your guys' farming operation, target the areas and the fields that are drawing your yields down, or the areas that need improvement. It's the things that we can see and are guessing at, but now we actually can make informed decisions instead of guessing at what we think might be the issue.
No, I love that. I love the idea that we can take, we're going to take information and we're going to help people kind of hone in on what the issues are and sort it out, kind of tease out what they might be doing, what the next step is going to make them the most additional profit, and being able to help people out in a detailed way. And so we're going to have somebody on board that's going to be able to just do the deep dive into the data, and hopefully anybody that's on this or gets on this program, I think is going to learn so much more about their farm than what they have in the past, that I think it's going to be very, very valuable.
What excites me is I know that, you know, this is a program that Premier, you know, offers. They're based in Iowa and they've got a lot of success and acres enrolled out there. And when we found out that they had a 97% retention rate with their customers, that made us feel really good that this is something that customers are seeing value in, it's making them money, and they're continually enrolling in it. It helps them organize their farm. It helps them produce results and keep things, you know, like I said, organized, I guess, a lot quicker. And you always know that someone's there helping you manage through all the data that you've been gathering. So,
And yeah, I think that's another thing is by having somebody, when we got an advisor on this program, they're going to be communicating with that farmer much more, enough that there's going to be just a great exchange of data, that it's going to be pretty clear what's really going on. So we're looking forward to what this can do for people. I think, here's another thing, as far as I think these learning blocks are going to be huge. As we have questions, as farmers have questions, we're going to be able to answer them with real data and real local data, not just what a university said or what a company said. We're going to be able to answer those directly. And so it's going to be good. If you've got any ability to work with this program, I think it's going to be a helpful